When it comes to caring for a horse's back, the decisions feel bigger than the purchase itself. You're weighing the cost of a device against the promise of faster tissue repair, wondering if the time you spend setting it up will actually translate into a healthier animal, and worrying that a wrong choice could end up as another unused gadget in the barn. That's why I want to walk through the practical side of this red light therapy belt, so you can decide if it really fits your routine and your budget. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, the whole idea behind a wearable light therapy belt is simple: deliver specific wavelengths of light directly onto the muscles or tendons that need attention. In the equine world, that usually means a horse that spends long hours in the saddle, a young animal recovering from a strain, or a senior horse dealing with chronic soreness. The device we're looking at comes with two separate switches, one for the deeper penetrating 850 nanometers infrared light, and another for the 660 nanometers red light that's said to stimulate surface tissue. In practice, that means you can toggle between a deep heat mode and a surface boost without swapping equipment. The first thing I noticed when I imagined actually using this belt was how the battery is set up. It can be charged directly from a wall outlet or hooked up to a power bank, which is handy if you're on a farm without easy access to electricity. The internal battery holds enough charge for a typical session, about 10 to 15 minutes per area, so you can run a couple of treatments before needing to recharge. That freedom from a constant power cord is a real advantage when you're moving between stalls or working out in the field. Usability in the barn is often where the rubber meets the road. The belt is described as lightweight and ergonomic, with adjustable straps that let you wrap it snugly around the horse's back. In my mind, the snug part matters because you need the light beads to stay in contact with the skin for the therapy to be effective. In a real-world scenario, I'd have a horse standing in a quiet corner. I'd loosen the straps, slide the belt under the mane, and then tighten it just enough that it doesn't shift when the animal moves a little. The process takes under a minute, which is a lot less disruptive than some larger, stationary light panels that require the horse to lie down. Coverage is another practical point. The belt houses 160 little lamp beads spread along its length, which translates to a fairly even distribution of light across the targeted area. For a typical horseback, that means you're treating the entire thoracic region rather than just a single spot. I can see this being useful for a horse with a diffuse muscle strain after a long trail ride, where you want to address the whole muscle chain rather than a pinpointed knot. On the flip side, if you only need to treat a very localized injury, say a tendon sheath on the foreleg, this belt would be overkill and you'd waste battery life on unnecessary illumination. One concern that comes up often with any therapeutic device is how long you actually need to run it. The manufacturers recommend short bursts, usually 5 to 10 minutes per session, a few times a week. In my experience with other light therapy gear, the key is consistency rather than length. The belt's dual-witch design lets you experiment. You might start with a few minutes of infrared to warm the deeper tissues, then switch to red light for an extra few minutes to encourage circulation near the skin. That flexibility is a strength because you can tailor the treatment to the horse's response without buying separate devices. Now, who really benefits from this? If you're a competitive rider who pushes the same horse hard week after week, the belt offers a low-maintenance way to add a recovery step without scheduling a professional physiotherapist. It also makes sense for owners of older horses that show early signs of stiffness. A short, regular light session can keep the joints moving more comfortably. Conversely, if you're a casual rider who only saddles up a few times a month, the cost and the extra time spent setting up may not justify the marginal gains. In that case, a simple massage or a brief walk might provide comparable relief. A practical weakness that shows up when you think about daily barn life is the need to keep the belt clean. Because it wraps around the horse's back, it's exposed to sweat, dust, and sometimes manure splatter. The fabric is not waterproof, so you'll have to wipe it down after each use and store it in a dry place. That maintenance step isn't a deal breaker, but it does add a small routine that busy barn hands might overlook, potentially reducing the device's lifespan. Another subtle trade-off is the intensity of the light. The lamp beads are strong enough to be effective, yet not so powerful that they cause overheating. However, the belt does get warm.